Looks like I'm live. Trying this out for the first time. I've just got a little time here in the practice room, the lesson room. So I thought I would just share something I've been working with a few of my students on. So it's basically the inspiration. I thought you would dig this because the inspiration comes off of, there's a lick that Ace Frehley plays in the New York Groove song that sounds like this. He uses it later on too when he takes it up to the key of F. And it sounds like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about basically three notes in their harmonization that you can get a lot of mileage out of, and I'll talk about a couple other guitar players who use these same things, Chuck Berry, Keith Richards. So basically, if you want to get your bearings with this, we're going to do this in E, and if you want to, you can, we're going to base this off of where we are on the 6th string. So if I went up to the 12th fret, and I played an E minor bar chord up there. So if you don't know that one, that's something you might want to learn before embarking on this lesson. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play an E minor pentatonic scale. This is the first scale that most rock guitar players learn or use. So it's going to sound like this. A lot of licks come right out of that. The majority of them do, actually. Chuck Berry, all the rock and roll stuff. So what I'm doing there is I'm at the 12th fret, and that's the root note of the scale. And the scale is actually made up of, it's called a pentatonic scale. It's made up of 5 different notes: a 1, a flat 3, a 4, a 5, a flat 7, and a 1. So what we're going to do is if we continue that on to the next octave, we've got a 1, a flat 3, a 4, a 5, another flat 7, and a 1. So, and then you got a flat 3 up here too. So there's so many licks and songs that are based off of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just start out by just working off of 2 of those notes. If I go through that scale one more time, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4. We're going to work with the 5 and the flat 7. That's in the key of E. So what we're going to do is we're going to add one more note that's not in the scale. We're going to add the C sharp right here, which is the major 6th. So now we have this. So I've got the 5th of the scale, the major 6th, and the flat 7. So you've probably heard that in Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. So that's basically where we're starting. We're starting with these 3 notes right here. In the key of E. Okay, so from there what we're going to do is we're going to harmonize those 3 notes. We're going to play a lower harmony with those 3 notes. So if I just use what's in the scale, the pentatonic scale, I'm going to have the G with the B, or a flat 3 and the 5. Then I'm going to go up to the A and the C sharp, or a 4 and a 6. And then I'm finally going to move up to the 5th and the flat 7 up here. So that, this is kind of, this page on my Facebook started out being heavily Kiss, because it started out as my Ace Frehley impersonation page way back, and just became my everyday page. Worlds collided, and it's just, it's my everyday page now. So you probably know, if you're a Kiss fan, you probably know 100,000 Years. So those are the same notes that Ace Frehley plays in the 100,000 Years. He's going. So those three notes, that harmonization right there, it's just those three notes, satisfaction lick, harmonized with the lower scale tones right out of the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so then that's basically, we're keeping it minor, but then there's something that the blues players do, and they add a major third. They turn the minor third major, but they don't play just the major third, they grace note into it from the minor third. So, as I mentioned before, you know, this is one thing I mentioned when I started doing these videos is that this is not really exactly a full lesson, you know, every step of the way. This is more something, if you're interested in it, you can watch this and you can pick up a few things, and there you go. It's something fun to do and fun to talk about. So what blues players and rock players do, jazz players, everybody sort of uses this lingo. I'm going to take my flat 3, as we mentioned earlier in the video. You can always go back and watch that again. This flat 3, this G, and then the 5th, which is a B. I'm gonna grace note, hammer on into the major third. So it's going to sound like this. So instead of playing, actually I don't want to add that note yet, sorry. Instead of playing this, now I have this. Sounds a bit like AC/DC's rock and roll, Ain't Noise Pollution, right? So that's where we're at now, and when you do that, when you add a major third, now the tonality of the chord you might be playing under changes too, because now you've got a major third with a flat 7, so you've got basically an E7 kind of sound. That sort of thing. So when you put that all together, let me do it one more time slow and resolve it. You're going to go like this. One more time. Okay, so that's basically where that little bit comes from. Now another great guitarist, Chuck Berry, did something with this too. He harmonized it even a little bit more. He added a lower note in there, so you had this. And he would do a thing where he went. He did that in a song called Guitar Boogie Shuffle. So that's, you know, that's 3-note version of that, the same 4 notes. So that's a little more harmonization there. So one more aspect of this lick that we can talk about is just that additional note, the middle part of that. A lot of guitar players just like playing that part of it, like this. Something like that. You can take those 2 notes and put a slight bend on them. It's very bluesy. Or down here. So one of the interesting things that happens, this lesson is going to be really short, but it actually comes from years of sort of picking up bits and pieces of information. One of the interesting things that happens is that when you bend the 3rd string on the guitar and you bend the 2nd string on the guitar, the 3rd string is going to go up about a full step when you bend them together, and the 2nd string is only going to go up about a half step. So when I bend this, when I bend the 2 14th fret notes, it actually is like the B string is bending up 1 fret, and the G, the 3rd string, is bending up 2 frets. So it's almost like you're going like this. I'm probably moving fast for you to pick all this stuff up, but basically that's a cool thing that happens. You can rewind this video and watch that again. If I have my Stratocaster here with a whammy bar on it, it's set, I can go up a half step. If I just did that with open strings, the G, the 3rd, goes up to about an A, and the B, the 2nd string, goes up to about a C. That was something I picked up, you know, in some guitar article or something like that in a guitar magazine. So you start putting these things together. Of course, Chuck Berry Chuck Berry would do that lick in a tune called Carol. So that's, you know, a lot of guys have used that. Slash uses it, you know, Guns N' Roses tunes. It's just I think it's a tough sounding move on the electric guitar. So okay, we've got that happening. Then there's just a few more things I can throw your way, more little tidbits. When you're doing this lick, so far we had gotten this far, and I was just playing both of those notes. I was playing the B note, but you can also do a move where I'm going to add in the sharp 4 going to the 5. So that's going to sound like this. And that gives us our full New York groove lick. So when you put all that stuff together, you know, New York groove kind of sounds like this, right? So that's the lick and where it all comes from. Now the crazy thing is, for all the Kiss fans out there, is if you watch the Paul Lynde Halloween special, there's that song at the end. It might be called Disco Lady or something like that, with Pinky Tuscadero and Paul Lynde and everybody dancing and singing. It's pretty good. But the lick that they're playing on the piano, that's the exact same lick. And I thought about pulling that up, but YouTube or Facebook usually erases other people's music. So if you listen to that outro song that they did, the very finale in that 1976 episode, that's basically the same lick. So all this stuff is tied together that way. So there's a couple different ways, again, to recap. You know, New York Groove, the first way, he just does it like this, you know. But then when he does the key change in the second verse, in the back of my Cadillac, he just does a variation on it that way. So I'm just, like I said, I just had a few minutes to kill, and I thought I would just do this because it was on the top of my mind. Hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm, you know, sending prayers out for people in California with the wildfires. Wendy and Meadow in particular are out there, and hope, you know, she's a few days away from getting here back to Milwaukee, so really just hanging on. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well in California, and everybody's a great night. Maybe I'll do this again if I can figure out how to get out of here now, right? Cheers.